Hello, Professor. It's Randy. Let me get started here. Let me find it. Screen share, Microsoft, and share. Awesome. Got it. So, my name is Randy, as I mentioned, and I will be going over the assignment, the process of conducting therapy, which was really fun, by the way. I really enjoyed it. So, a brief overview, introduction of why therapy is important in social work, and focus areas. Individuals and clients come into therapy for many different reasons. Therapy is a key intervention in helping individuals grow and overcome many challenges that they may have. So this fosters a positive change, growth in their life, any healing. Some of these focus areas might include homelessness, domestic violence, uh, neglect, any form of abuse, etc. There are certain key stages in the therapy process. There are five major ones, but today we'll be trying to identify the need for therapy, preparing for sessions, actually conducting the session itself, and following up. And to keep in mind, guiding principles that social workers have to remember is we have to practice within our competence and remember our code of ethics. So we have different duties to certain individuals, but these ethical and professional standards we have to abide by. So describing the therapy process, there are five major components to the process. We have the first one, which is the importance of building rapport. This stage is very crucial for developing trust and encouraging open communication with our clients, whether that is with an individual one-on-one or with a family or even in a group. We will be going over stage two, assessments and diagnoses. This stage identifies any needs or challenges and underlying issues. And then we have stage three, which is formulating the goals of therapy that aligns with the client's intentions and why they're actually there. And then we have intervention and problem solving, which I like to think of as the meat and potatoes of therapy, the actual work and action within therapy. And then we have the termination and follow-up. And this is the end process of the whole therapeutic relationship. And during this, you could address any progress, any skills, and then plan for future support. Moving on. So we're going to go over stage one, which is relationship building. The purpose of therapy and introductions is highly important because it helps create a foundation for the therapist and the actual clients or client. Why are they there for therapy? Why did they come? you know, Building rapport and, that trust helps create a a positive relationship that allows the client to feel welcomed, less nervous, because I know some individuals might come and it's nerve-wracking. They might feel nervous. Like I said, any resistance that they may have towards therapy. Maybe they heard from another individual that they had a bad experience, or they've heard through, media or have some sort of bias towards it. But this stage allows the practitioner to create this bond with the client. The practitioners also have to be aware, very self-aware of their body language, so they can't be really tense. They have to be aware of their tone of voice. They can't be yelling. If a client sees that you're feeling tensed or with your arms closed, of course they're going to react, in a very defensive way and not want to open up. So we have to be aware of our communication verbally and non-verbally, because sets the tone for the relationship. And then we also have to address the confidentiality and limits of confidentiality. It's important to let the clients know that what happens in therapy will stay in therapy, unless there is some issues that the client is expressing they want to harm themselves, or they have a plan to. Maybe they have a plan to harm someone else and so forth, but creating these boundaries in an objective way allows fostering a better relationship as well. So we have to address informed consent, but through all this, we can use a therapeutic and empathetic approach. We have to tune into how the client walked in. What is their body language? What is their tone of voice? How are they responsive to our questions? They might feel some sort of uneasiness because maybe they feel judged. And it's important for the practitioner to create this safe environment for the individual, a non-judgmental environment that is very welcoming and allows the client to open up initially. Next, we have stage 2, which is the assessment and diagnoses. So this we go over the need for therapy. We're trying to identify why the individual has come in or was referred. We are gathering a lot of information in this stage, a comprehensive background, as you will. So we could go over different areas such as their social life, their family life, mental health history, substance abuse history, any previous diagnosis or medications that they have taken, but gathering as much information as you can is better. You help to identify different needs that maybe the client didn't even see themselves. And this allows us to assess their current situation. What is going on in their life right now, and what are their primary focus issues. This helps maybe to create this sense of, direction as well. We can identify major areas or, common areas such as anxiety, stress, whether that's in personal, family, or work. There's the family dynamics that are a major issue with some individuals. And these are just common problems, issues that may feel overwhelming to clients and be the first to mention. We also have to keep in mind that we have to take a listening approach that is not about us and it's about the client. So we are not the ones that are talking the most. It's the client. We are just maybe probing, but not, interrogating the client. We can help the client to identify any patterns in their lives or recurring challenges that they might face. But through all this, we can help the client also develop strengths. These strengths will be vital in their future success. What are they good at? What has helped them before, with substance abuse, which I have worked with. I like to ask if this is their first treatment program or what has worked for them in the past so we can try and build on that and utilize that, and teach them something new and grow from that experience and not feel that that was for nothing. What are you bringing to the table that is going to help assist you in this therapeutic relationship and process? Next, we have stage 3. This is where we formulate the goals. So after we gathered all that information and discussed, different problem areas and needs, we can begin to tailor these goals that align with the client. An approach that I like to refer to is the SMART goals framework. We like to create specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and also time bound. So this helps provide some clarity and prioritize their issues in a sense. We can also use these goals to enhance any accountability and track any progress that the client is making. They help see, I'm accomplishing these goals, I'm actually doing it, I'm succeeding in therapy. I feel good about moving forward, which leads them to, exploring different, deeper issues that they might have. And also during this stage, it's important to come up with different interventions that the client and the therapist are going to use. Some of them might include CBT, client-centered therapy, motivational interviewing, and expressive theory, just depending on the therapist's competency, what they're skilled at, and the client's situation, their problems. So it's just a lot of factors that go into selecting what interventions will be used. This actually helps to establish a direction, these goals, and maintain motivation. It creates like this roadmap for the client so they could see, okay, my problems aren't everywhere. I have a map. This is what I'm going to focus on, one thing at a time. Next, we have stage 4, which is the actual intervention and problem solving. This is, like I said, the meat and potatoes of the actual therapy. You begin to rely on your skills in order to help the client succeed. We can challenge the client's thoughts, their behaviors, their patterns for their development. This is where you start to dig deep into their current situation. This is where we use active listening, whether that is, reflective content, we could use summarizing, paraphrasing, tuning into the client's feelings. This allows us to really challenge the client, you know, how are you going to propel forward? You are the one here, so let me be the guy to help you create these solutions to your situation. How are we going to solve these problems together? Using these interpersonal skills will prove very beneficial in this stage because it can be hard. I've seen people come to tears, when they're really doing the work on themselves. And empathy is so important and respectful, during this stage. A client can also realize their worth, their importance and value. Let's say they are in a domestic violence situation and they tend to always go back to the individual. Sometimes during this stage, the individual gets clarity, and they challenge themselves and see their worth and try to create a new solution so they don't go back to these problems, you know. During this too, we could help create any coping skills, any development of new skills that they can tend to and begin to utilize for their future success. I like to think of them as, new hobbies, maybe something that will foster your growth. And then next we have stage 5, termination and follow-up. This stage is also very important, not to exclude any of the others. In this final stage of the therapy process, we can then begin to review the skills that they have developed already that they are going to utilize for their life outside of therapy when it ends. We could highlight the important aspects of their therapy, help them feel more confident and exploring their victories. What did you achieve in therapy, and where do you see yourself in the next year or 5 years? I want to see you make it and come through. And during this stage, we can also create safety plans, whether that is relapse prevention or running into minor little setbacks. What plan are we going to create in order to get back on track? We come up on this lapse, or we run into this little hiccup. How are we gonna get back on track? You know? And also during this stage, there might be other issues that you didn't have time for, or you don't know enough information about. So you can provide some education for the client and maybe create any referrals, any follow-up situations um, that will help the individual after therapy, what's going to support them when they're not in therapy anymore. And the follow-up appointment is also a great tool for even the therapist so they could see the fruits of their labor. Not that it's about the practitioner, but you like to see your clients succeed. You know, it evaluates their progress. Are they actually doing what they said? You know, reflecting on their entire therapy process, how have they grown and how are they going to live their new life? So I really like the follow-up appointments with my clients as well. And this stage, you know, concludes the last one. Stage 5, we'll move on to the conclusion here. So, a brief overview of the stages once more. We have the building of relationships, assessment and exploration. We had the goal development. We had the action and intervention stage, and then also the termination and follow-up stage. So to summarize it all up, it emphasized on the whole therapeutic process, how it's important to build empathy and trust and collaborate with our clients in order to create smart goals with them. We help to motivate clients to, develop new skills and improve themselves in a positive way, you know, and it helps equip the clients to develop and feel confident in their newly developed lives independently. And with that being said, that concludes my presentation and assignment of the therapy process. I do thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I did a good job. You have a good night, and thank you for watching.